Hello, welcome to my one-page year plan for grade 4 students. So to begin with our daily work, the daily work I would choose is Dear, and like having kind of reading buddies and stuff like that. I think this is really important to instill with the kids right from the get-go. This drop everything and read is really important. The students are able to come in, read whatever they fancy, whatever they're kind of interested about, and kind of go from there. I don't envision this being a noisy activity. I envision them kind of doing this by themselves. They're kind of doing this one-on-one, just kind of before as everyone gets settled in, coming into class from whatever, moving from a new activity, kind of stuff like that. So I don't really picture it being too noisy, and that's why I don't think oral language would be checked off from there. From there we move into the program work. And the program work I have is the Daily 5 and the word ladder. The word ladder is awesome. It's something I learned about in my first year practicum from Mr. Schroeder. And it's pretty much just there's one base word that you use, and then there's several questions above it, and you just got to answer the questions using that word. So like one of the questions is, what is the opposite of more? Use the base word minus 2 letters. And it's like, oh, well, the opposite of more is less, and that's 2 less letters. And you just kind of answer questions like that. I think that's a great activity. It's a really good alternative to Dear, and it really complements each other really well. I think as 2 activities that you would be doing daily or every other day, depending on the day. From there, the first unit we move into is the All About Me unit. I think this is a really important first unit to do when the students are coming into your class. You get to learn a little bit about them, understand their likes, dislikes, where they're coming from. I think that's really important. With the organizing ideas, I didn't think fluency would be one of the ones that would get hit, just because I really want the students to talk about themselves, what they're doing, what they're kind of interested about and stuff like that. And I kind of just go from there. Just learn a lot about the students. It's really important that you kind of get to figure out who they are and what they're interested about. So that's a good setting point, and they can go from there. From that next activity, we move into media and newspaper. I think this is a really awesome activity to have. I have it going over the Aboriginal Day, just so because you always hear about the news, in the news. I think this is a great segue into kind of talk about it. You can kind of hear about, kind of see how the newspaper affects people's stories and stuff like that. You always kind of hear about like clickbait and stuff like that. It's like, oh, well, why is there clickbait? It's like, because people know how to create an attention-grabbing title. So people want to click on it and stuff like that. I think that's a really important thing. I think it'd be really good over that type of day, just to kind of show, like, we're talking about media and just how it needs to be talked about more. You can kind of find different ways to talk about it more using a different title and stuff like that. I think that's really important. From there, you move into the book club. The book I chose is Wonder. I think Wonder's a phenomenal book. I think it's really good for all ages, and there is a movie with it. Wonder shows you about accepting people, being different and overcoming it, just always persevering and stuff. And I think that's really good, especially in grade 4. Kind of friend groups are getting established like that, and everyone's still okay with each other, but groups are kind of getting more defined and stuff like that. And it's just important to show that, hey, it's okay. We're still a class. Like, you might have your friends, but outside of class, but you still need to be a collective group and work as one. I think that's awesome. I know that would cover all my organizing ideas with that unit. From there, we move into my intertwined integrated unit, and that is just the economics of Alberta. I'm a very math-based person. I love statistics and working with money and stuff like that. I think that's really important. So establishing students, like how the trade kind of worked back then, like what kind of their values are for each item back in the early days of Alberta when it was getting settled and established. I think that'd be really cool. And to kind of focus on the Aboriginal ideas, I would have the students kind of work from both perspectives, kind of do a unit a plan where people are trading with each other. They're both sides of the market. I think that would be really interesting and cool. From there, we move to Reader's Theater. Reader's Theater is awesome. I personally think kids get to act, they get to be a part of them, get to treat themselves, not take themselves too seriously or their classmates. I think that's a really important activity, kind of have the kids loosen up and not take themselves or their classmates too seriously. I think that's really important, and it really does reach a lot of the outcomes. I really want the kids to be able to comprehend what they're doing and learning and trying to act out, like, oh, I'm acting this out because of this. I think that's really important. Then moving on, we got poetry. I think the poetry unit's really important. having the kids be able to accept, like, oh, here's a poem. And there's so many different types of poetry. Poetry is a very broad term, and lots of things can be incorporated into that, like music, movies, like poems, stuff like that. And I also have that kind of established with creative writing, because I want the students to be creative with their writing when they're writing a poem, whatever they're kind of writing about or passionate about. I want them to do that. And then the final unit I have is my Moneyball movie with statistics. Like I said, I love statistics and I love math and stuff like that. So I think it'd be really cool if we were to take the kids out to like a baseball game or something like that, or show them the movie Moneyball and just get them to kind of jot down all the different types of things you could statisticize, or you could keep stats on for all these other things. I think that'd be a really cool assignment to get all the students really engaged with being outside. It's a good end of the year activity where the kids are outside, they're doing stuff, they're hanging out, they're playing. I think that'd be a really cool activity to end the year on. Thank you for listening to my explanation of my 1 year plan. Thank you.